Hey guys, I'm just going to go ahead and start talking because I know that people watch these over and I don't want them to have to wait until a minute or, however long it takes people to check in. So, what we're going to talk about today is Chinese D2. And I see a thumbs up, so that means at least one person's here. Chinese D2. Now, I had somebody ask me how I felt about Chinese D2. So, we're going to get into that in a minute. So I have some knives here that came in, and they're all in D2. And they are, we'll get into the fact that they are clones and counterfeit style. Like, one of them's an actual counterfeit. A couple of them are just lookalikes. What's up, Cody? So I've been asked a few times about how the Chinese D2 is. So I have two knives here from the same person. They are both in D2. One of them is a Benchmade, and the other one is a Chinese Hokum Jokum Shirogorov lookalike. Like, if it wasn't for the fact it doesn't, I mean, if it had a logo, you'd have a hard time picking this one out of a lineup. Of all of them, this one was the best. But, I mean, as far as looking like what it isn't, but there are no maker's marks on it, and there's some things that you can tell that it's not a real Shiro, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What me and y'all are going to talk about is Chinese D2. And I noticed something, because this is the third one of these I've sharpened. The third Chinese D2 knife, fourth knife in D2 I have sharpened today. It's good. I hate to admit it. It's good. It's pretty good. It reminds me a lot of the difference between knives that you get in S35VN, such as a Chris Reeve Sebenza, or other knives that are coming out. I'm not going to get into that because I have no proof. So I did, at the end of the video I just shot, explained how US made does not mean that the components that are in said item are not made in China. But as far as the steel goes, I have a Benchmade in D2 and a Hokum Jokum Shiro in D2. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is better steel. I could tell when I was sharpening, I could tell, it might not be better steel. It's the same steel. I'm saying heat treat. Heat treat, it always comes down to heat treat. You can have a knife in 20 CV that is not great, and then a knife that has been done in 20 CV that is amazing. It all depends on how the heat treat is done. So these were heat treated very well. It's hard. It was abrasive resistant. It did not cut well on the stones. It got ridiculous sharp. This cut on the stones, don't get me wrong, I like this D2. I've sharpened Benchmades in D2. Their D2 is good, but it's just not the same when it comes to sharpening. You can feel it when you sharpen. It feels softer. So now this steel is going to lend itself to be, I haven't oiled this yet, it's going to lend itself to be easily resharpened, easily stropped. D2 in general does that. This, once I got the actual angle set and reprofiled, it was fairly easy to sharpen, but you could just feel that this one's a little bit further up the Rockwell scale by just a little bit. So there is my take on D2 coming out of China. It's not bad. It's not horrible. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not horrible from what I'm feeling. Like I said, I've sharpened 4 knives in D2 today, because all the knives this one guy sent me, all of them D2. So this is not going to be a long video. I am going to show you that this is the knockoff. You can see it has the Shiro mark, but what does it not have? It doesn't have the proper hardware. This has the proper hardware. This does not. That's heavy too. This one's heavy. So I would say that this is probably what the weight on a, well, when I do the actual video on it, I will get the scales out and we will compare this to the Model 95 F95 that Matt let me borrow. That's the only reason I still have his knife, is because it is the same design as this this one that's in this pouch here. So, oh, this one still needs sharp. So it is almost exactly the same knife. It's just not marked, but it's lighter. We'll get into that when I do the video about these knives. But no, I just wanted to, since I had a few minutes, hey, what's up, Jorgen? I had a few minutes. I wanted to just show you guys that, and I am going to do a video. Oh, it's in there on the counter. A Grayman Duo that came in that I just got done refinishing, resharpening for customer Andy Carr, and it's a nice knife. Actually, let me get it. It's right in here. I smell supper being made. Smells good. So, this came in. It was just plain Jane. We wanted to take a good look at it. He had never seen it in hand, and so when I did it for him, it was plain Jane. I told him I'd sharpen it for him. I put a notch in it here so that it was easier to sharpen. This is a beast, a little beast. It is a little beast. Ken's here? When did Ken get here? Probably while I was out in the house. So anyway, he wanted it just a little bit of flash on it. So we did a black, kind of almost a black wash with green anno, and then left the blade completely black. Now, I will say, I at first thought that this edge was just a little too thin, and then I got to putting two and two together. I saw why the edge was so, wasn't that it was thin, the bevel is broad on this because it's thick. There is not a lot of grind thinning that thing out. So what I did was I got an angle real good on it, and then I put a pretty good edge on it where it's gonna be accounting for a little bit of that thickness. What was that? Where's the D2? You gotta watch it from the beginning. I'm done with the D2 thing. I talked about it for the first 7 minutes. Now we're pretty much done. Chinese D2, thumbs up. To quote the crazy Russian hacker, thumbs up for me. So this is a little beast of, don't worry, Gun Cotton. All of them get put up. I don't take any of my live feeds down. They stay up. You'll be able to see it. So anyway, yeah, I think it came out real nice. It's something now he's gonna have a work knife. He had a pyramid. I think you got all the valves on that one. I think you hit all the valves there, Mike. He has a PM2, but for what he does, he had busted it up pretty good. I sharpened it for him, and I think that this is going to work better for him as a work knife. This is a beast. It's a hard use knife. It's really thick. It will cut. So it's not thin like I thought. I just thought it was, what is it? This is YouTube. Makes PG-13 live streams that get saved for posterity. Yeah. So yeah, it came out real nice. It's never gonna be, this is never gonna be a big slicey beast like, oh, I can cut this. No, this thing's thick. It's gonna bind up. The ceramic will help a little bit. It kind of does reduce friction, but the other thing is it's gonna reduce scratching and things like that. It's gonna protect that knife, and that's what he needed, was a good, decent work knife. But once again, waging war against plain Jane knives. You want to see the only plain Jane knife I have? Because I can anodize stuff. I can do that. My Fortis. Now, and it's not even as plain Jane as it was. It used to just be, this used to be tumbled and blast. I put black on the hardware. I wanted to go monochrome on it. I had done this green. As a matter of fact, if you look real hard in here, I believe somewhere on here. Oh, Nope. I think that last tumble I gave it took care of that. This was like a patina copper look. I I wanted it. I thought it would look cool. I thought it would look cool, but I was like, no, this one didn't come from. That's where this one came from. Yeah, just finished the video. That's not a polished stone wash. That was completely different finish. This went to a friend of theirs that had a polishing company, and this went in a tumbler full of synthetic sapphire for a very long time. And you got a polished matte that, I mean, it's polished, but when it's almost like it's almost like you can look into the metal. It gave it a very cool effect. This, you want to talk about friction free. This is, nope, there was about 10 of these. I have one, Nico has one, my cousin Jake has one. They did not do that on all of them. There were only a few. So, and I know at least 4 people that have this same blade finish. So, me and my friends have almost half of all of these that were ever done in that blade finish. Me and my cousin have. Yeah. Oh yeah, so you're number 5. We have half of them. We have half of these. Luke probably has the other half all by himself. We have a friend named Luke Albert, and Luke is a maniac. He has more Ferrum Forge knives than most anybody I know. I'm pretty sure that me, Nico, Jake, Pip, and Charles have half. And like I said, I would not surprise me if Luke has the other half. My hair's getting long. Matt. I don't think Matt has a Fortis. I don't think he has one. Yeah, I like Luke. He's good too. Yeah, China D2. That ship has sailed. I talked about it at the very beginning. So I will tell you, like I said, it's good. It is good. I think personally, having sharpened 4 knives today in D2, 3 of them being Chinese D2, 1 of them being a Spyderco, which probably is American D2. The Chinese D2 cut on the stones differently. It feels like it's going to hold an edge better. It sharpened better. I wasn't chasing the apex back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I said that one time about sharpening. I said I was, I spent the whole day on this cheap knife. Somebody sent me a pretty cheap knife the one day, but they wanted it sharpened because it had some. Those are definitely not. Those are D2. They cut hard. They are D2. But so I was saying, I was like, yeah, this cheap knife come in, and the guy wanted it to. Yes, Ken, I told you I got it. Oh, have I tested it? Not really. Well, yeah, I did. As a matter of fact, I touched up the serrations on this, and it seemed to be pretty good. It did a really good job. It does not want to get down into the larger circles very well, but I have a big rod, I have a big rod, and a big ceramic rod that I can use for that. The big rod, not so much. Doesn't fit so well. Busher Craft in D2. It's very hard, slightly chippy, but Scandi Edge will do that. These don't feel like super hard. They just feel like Goldilocks, just right. So, but no, like I was saying, it seems like they cut much better on the stones, more along the lines of being as wear resistant as I would want. But like I said, it's a lot like when I was talking about S35VN. S35VN can be really good. All of the WE knives I've ever had and the WE knives that I own, the ones, they're great. They are really way better for uh, holding their edge, the WE knives, than the Chris Reeves knives. Chris Reeves runs their S35VN fairly soft for my taste. I constantly am having to sharpen my my Spenza. But the flip side of that is, it's easier to sharpen my Spenza. My Spenza will take a strop right back to hair popping sharp. Like it could be like ripping paper kind of dull, and you could strop that thing right back to hair popping sharp, which is the nice thing about it. It just doesn't stay that way very long. The WE knives, the S35VN, like what's going to be in the Pro line, they do their S35VN a good bit harder, and it's great. It's awesome, and it's still fairly easy to sharpen. So there's different heat treats. Like I can definitely feel the difference between Elliott's knives that are in 20 CV, like this, on a stone, versus the knives that I make in the same 20 CV with Elliott's in-house heat treat recipe. Way different, because you can't get people to do the heat treat on 20 CV the way Elliott does and still be able to do any grinding without burning stuff up. So they went with a different heat treat process, a couple points lower on the D2 to sharpen. I like sharpening D2. It's fairly straightforward. It takes a really sick edge. Where do I buy the Pro line? Well, you don't buy the Pro line yet. Don't come out till August. I have this one. I just shot a video about it. They announced it a couple, like last week. I asked if I could borrow one of the prototypes again. They said yes, that I could do a video. This one, the only thing you're not going to get to see is what the pocket clip looks like. However, they will be on They will not be on Massdrop. They will be on Blade HQ and Knife Center. KnifeCenter.com and Blade HQ. And how is the S35VN on React? It's pretty good so far. Chinese D2. I already talked about it, Marla. You gotta watch it from the beginning. Hey, Marla's here. Marla, I have been telling people I would like to, if possible. You don't have a website, do you? You said. I wanted to do something more about, as you can see, the strop has been used. This strop has been used. It's got metal in it. Yes, Marla with the strops. So, Marla has a website. It is MW Painter, like painter, at gmail.com. So this works really good. S35VN always winds up better done on a strop with chromium oxide versus other steels that really like to be done on the diamond strops. So, I like it, especially because it gives me some versatility because it's rounded, and I can do there you go. It's rounded, so I can hit as you can see, I've done some convex stuff on it as well. So it's a pretty versatile little strop. I usually don't like the paddle strops, but this has already, I can now get rid of that big monstrosity that I made, a 2x4 and a 4x4. So yeah, we've talked about that. We are going to talk about, real quick, the Patreon. Patreon is going to start getting specific stuff directed to them. I've already done a few. I was just trying the way you can do it, things like that. So basically what I'll do is I do a video, I post it to YouTube. Any improvements you should make on it? Not really that I could think of anything. Maybe provide a case for it, because I had to unload it the other day because I got some of the silica carbide that I use for flattening stones, the powder. I got it on there and it got down in it, and I had to clean off and sand the leather with some 400 grit sandpaper like I would do on my leather belt that we use in the shop. Oh, anyway, Patreon is going to start getting exclusive content more often. So if you guys want to see what some of that is, you're going to have to do the Patreon. And I'm not saying you got to pay a lot to get into it, because the Patreon, I think it's $1. But there is exclusive content to be coming. I'm going to do some cool stuff. I think that I am going to do a video specifically for the Patreons. There's a place I want to take and go video. I will do a video for YouTube, but there's some stuff that I want to do specifically. Anza Knives. Anza Knives is in San Diego. I did not know this until just a couple days ago. And I am going to go get in touch with Anza Knives and see if it's okay for me to come up and shoot a video in their shop so you guys can see how Anza Knives are made. They're pretty famous. They're pretty cool. My father's, one of his things that he treasured most before he passed away was a knife that was a little Anza knife that he won that had his initials embossed on it, that they had basically etched his initials into a design on the blade. So there's some stuff that's coming from the Patreons. You know, I'm not saying you guys have to do Patreon, but it would be cool. It'd be cool. There are 2,600 subscribers. If everybody gave $1, I would have $2,600 that we could go to things like Blade Show and SHOT Show and things like that that I can't currently go to because I have to be here doing this. So yeah, that's my shameless plug to try and get you guys to throw some money my direction. I am going to take down the thing. I had talked to a bunch of people. No one is utilizing. I had been offering a discount. I had been offering a discount on my Patreon, but there was no limit to it. So anybody that paid me $5 could send me a box full of knives and get a discount. So it's you know, $1 from every person would get us a lot of places every month. So Nico's here. I like the money that folds. I like the money that jingles. I like the money that folds better. But yeah, I mean, it would be cool. And Marla needs you guys to, like, I would like to see her be able to do a better job with the straps. There is going to be a meetup. How many people are here in San Diego? Or close? I'm just going to go ahead and announce it. I'm going to do a meetup. We're going to do it at Pockets. Hi, you can come down. OC's not that far. So anyway, I mean, even if it's just a couple of us, what the plan is I want to do it on a Saturday. I will be working at the shop. I will set a time at, like, see if we can get to the shop right around 3. And if I was getting Patreon money, I would come to the knife show that they have in France and do that. I would take that. That would be my trip to Paris money, would be the monthly Patreon. Right now, I mean, you guys, Patreons bought the gimbal. So at any rate, what I was saying was I want to do it at Pockets, probably around 3 o'clock. I would work, you know, I'll probably work in the morning until some of you guys start showing up, and then go over to Pockets, and they have food there, they have beer there, they have 12 pool tables. If I can get if I can get with Lila and see if Lila would be willing to open early, we might be able to do it earlier in the day, because, you know, it's Marley, you could ship. Here's the thing, Charles will pay the shipping. He does with me. You could do it. Just tell him what the shipping is. Did I lose weight? Maybe a little. I didn't lose it. I just kind of set it off to the side. I'm sure I'll find it again. I have misplaced some weight. I gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. Depends on how much I eat. It's not Marla, it's not that hard. I've sent stuff to Charles several times. Charles, email her. Hey, Charles, did you get your stuff that I sent you? Did it arrive yet? I'm pretty sure it did, because I think I saw your Archbishop in a picture. So I'm not gonna, well, I might start on this one. This is the last one. Do I have a recommendation for 2x72? The best 2x72 that I use is the 2x72 that I use at Elliott's shop is a Travis Wirtz, and it's really, really modular. You're looking, Marley, you're looking at about $30 for shipping to Sweden. That's what I paid last time. So basically, I mean, he would pay the price plus shipping. You'd be looking at like $60. I think the last box was rather large. It cost me, but I mean, he had like 8 knives at my house that I had finished for him, and I think it was $64 in shipping or something like that. So I mean, he's a reliable dude. He's a reliable dude. So if what I did last time, I think what we did last time was Charles paid me. No, that was somebody else. But he's done it before, where I shipped something and then he paid me after, and I've never had a fault with it. 2 a.m. in Sweden, must hit the bed. Well, you probably should sleep in it. Hitting it, you might hurt yourself. Yeah, Charles is a great guy. Yeah, there you go, 2 or 3. So, I do need to get off of here before too long. But I wanted to show you guys. It's not out here. So, oh yeah, it is. There it is. I cannot thank the Little Hobbit and Muddy Matt enough for this knife. If you guys have not handled a Ferrum Forge Gent, holy crap. There are a lot of times that I have to really think hard about what knife I'm going to carry, and there's a lot of times this winds up being the one. This thing is, and the thing about it is ridiculous sharp. It is so thin. There you go. It's not so thin behind the edge. It's a freaking little razor. And mine is number 0331. If somebody has 0420 out there, I'd be willing to trade. Trade. I mean, straight up trade. I'd even anodize this for you for free. Pothead, what do you want? 420. God damn it, I keep going back and forth with gents whether I like it or not. Seems like I could. Here's the thing. It's not too small. I got big hands. This is actually as big in my hand as my NTAC. I want you guys to think about how big my hands are. You've seen pictures. That's a Costco water bottle. It's not that small. It's perfect for small little day-to-day tasks. Take the pocket clip off, you got a fucking little traditional folder. Take that pocket clip off, put it in your pocket, you got a traditional folder in your pocket, but it's not. It's flipper. I guarantee it's no smaller than any. Yeah, it is Bastrop one. This is no smaller. Polarized, this is no smaller. Or is, what was I saying? This is the Ferrum Forge Gents that came out through. So, yeah, you take that off, and you've got basically what you would have in a slip joint. So, it's bigger than that. Hey, it's $75. Yeah, I mean, Marla, that's what it's for. That's what I do. I talked about the pool hall in Instagram live feed the other day, and she was like, "You market me better than I do." Elliott does this kind of thing for me. Naked Pilots. So, I mean, it's all about paying it forward. I've had people that Birdshot has done stuff to publicize what I do. If I, why not pay it forward? That's what this channel is for. If we have people on this channel that can provide things, then why not say, I'm not going to say anything about that. I'm not going to send anybody somebody else's business. Well, that's a jackass move. You have a chance. I have 2,600 subscribers. Later, A-Ray. And if you offer a good product, which you do, I mean, I tested it before I decided to start throwing it out there that they should get them. Why not publicize it? So, My my wife is making supper, so this is not going to be a long live feed. But I am going to start on this hokum jokum fake Spencer, or not Spencer, Shirogorov. What was that? Not the Crux. The Crux is awesome. I wish I had gotten a Crux when the drop was open. I did not know how much I liked it until I carried the prototype again. The Crux is dropping again soon. I believe that you're probably right. I imagine that your assumption is correct. Don't regret it. Crux is the one that looks like, okay, so the Crux looks a lot like the Gents, but bigger and full titanium. So, did you have somebody actually sell you or had someone trying to sell you a fake what, Kenneth? Okay. This is clone. There's no markings on it, but when you look at it, I have it out here. I'm going to do a video about this after supper, and I finished this. I have to start because I have a bunch of Dwayne smothered me. I know what I forgot. Chris, see, Elliot has his own strop that he made, just like I did, and he has a specific way of doing it. It's like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I have a sweater that hangs up when I walk into my 100 square foot abode, where I am the only part of my house that I have absolute control over is this 100 square foot area here outside of the house. These were not $60, and let's not. Elliot has a very narrow strap that he made himself out of a piece of belt leather. Let's go back up here to Jason. I appreciate your opinion on it, but the fact is I don't like to give credence to people that do knockoffs. I appreciate the fact that you're saying, yeah, they probably are very good quality. I don't like the idea that these even exist. You could get got. If somebody was to laser engrave a Shirogorov logo on this up here, you could probably almost get got. So, and I don't want to see that happen. I don't like this. It takes money out of other people's pockets. So, I either smell a skunk or somebody's smoking a joint around here somewhere. So, I don't want to give any credence. The only thing I wanted to talk about these was the D2. And like I said, the D2 on them seems pretty freaking good. But these are not the $60, $80 ones. These, I think, this guy told me he paid $130 a piece for the ones that he's got. And it was because he had a Shiro, and at like almost $900, he didn't see the sense in beating up his he didn't want to beat up his actual Shiro. So he bought a couple of these fairly well done copies. Now, he went in it fully knowing, but what I'm going to do the video about is the danger of how you could easily get got with one of these. You know what? Somebody asked me, because I had done a video and I was sharpening, and they're like, so what are you looking at when you do that? I'm looking at things that I'm going to have to, address when I'm sharpening the knife. which side needs more work than others, because did it get biased right or left? Things like, does the guy want it biased right or left? I have to look at that edge. And so I spend a good bit of time before I even start looking at one of these. This one is pretty even and consistent. But the guy that sent me these, he's not bad at sharpening. However, these came from our mysterious benefactor, or an anonymous benefactor, I should say. And he sends these to me, and recently he had a stroke, so I would imagine that makes it a little more difficult for him to sharpen. He has a wicked edge that he uses. Somebody asked me in a comment, like, what do you think about the wicked edge? And it was a video, and I fought the almost uncontrollable urge to go, "Would you see me using one?" I almost said it, and I was like, don't be a dick, Mike. Don't be a dick. So some of you may have noticed I am wearing a neck knife that is not mine. This is one of the very few knives, it's not even a neck knife, you put it on a zipper pull, things like that. One of the very few knives that I will carry around my neck that is a neck knife that I didn't make. It's a Cold Steel Super Edge. Awesome little knife. So what are we talking about here? Clones are a huge problem. They should punch a hole in the handle. Just don't get it. No, I mean, say he knew full well that this is not an actual Shiro. He actually was upset that he got one that has a logo on it. What is it? This is a Cold Steel Super Edge. But for this, the serrations are awesome, because you know what I use this for? I do heavy duty line cutting and things like this. This thing is great for cutting heavy duty stuff. I have it around my neck because I had a garden hose that I didn't need anymore, but I needed a section of it to put around the base of some equipment at a friend's house. So what I did was I took the hose and I cut it into sections, and this is great for cutting a garden hose. So that's why I have it around my neck. Yes, this is AUSA, or it's AUS 8, yes. So I don't know if you guys know this. He had a small tumbler that was on a table. There you go. I'm strong, it comes in handy. So what he did was he had a compressor that was on a table that had triangular legs, and what we did was it would vibrate when it was on this tumbler, not a compressor, tumbler. It's just so much less work with a serrated edge. So I cut the hose into sections and we split it down the middle, and then put those on those eggs, because they were open at the end. So what we did was we just made basically a hot dog bun and put those legs, and now it doesn't make a rattling sound and try to walk around his freaking garage. He tumbles gun parts, and he has one of those tumblers, and it's just god awful with that metal table walking around, and you're like, how do you? So we made some footing for it so it would absorb some of the sound. What was that? Cold Steel what? Cold Steel uses just... Yeah, it is. That's exactly right, Jason. The heat treat that Cold Steel does on AUS 8 and... what's the other one that's people say is a kind of a crappy steel? At any rate, Cold Steel's heat treat on most of their stuff is really good. The only XH, yes, that's what it was. They had some knives that were in 420 or 440. Yeah, they had some steels that were some off steels, but still wound up being great. But one of the best I had was, give me a minute and I'll think of it. Oh, their XHP. I usually don't like XHP. I like Cold Steel's XHP. It's just a shame that they aren't be able to get enough of XHP. VG1 is awesome. I want to see what their S35VN is like. If their S35VN is, if they were able to do with S35VN what they did with OS 8, then they are going to have a very good steel on their hands. And people are going to look at it and see that S35VN. A lot of people don't like S35VN. I don't like S30V. I really don't. And you can tell me all day that it's better in some ways than certain things, and I just will argue with you. I don't like it. So, remember Cold Steel, Japan, OS 8, Cold Steel blades. XHP on the Spyderco. I like. I did not like Spyderco's XHP. I don't like XHP, so having it the Spyderco one, I wasn't pleased with it. Benchmade's steels are hit or miss. They're 20. Who was that? Was that Pip? No, it was Polarized. I don't like S30V. I don't like many of the S series steels. I've gotten to where I kind of like S90. Oh. LCN 200N. Let me tell you about LCN 200N. It's a nitrogen steel. It is what Spyderco is going to replace their H1 in their Salt series with. It's a super corrosion resistant steel. It's not corrosion proof, but it is pretty much corrosion proof, if you want to talk about it. So H1 was a hydrogen based steel, and it wasn't great. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. So the LCN 200N is a nitrogen steel, and it is the same thing as Z-Finite, which Elliot has used several times on stuff, and Z-Finite is amazing. And so LCN 200N, I did a Spidey Chef not too long ago. It cuts really easy. And what you get is, you get a different sound. Like, can you hear? What you're hearing is the grain structure in the steel. When it cuts really smooth and quiet, you have super fine grain structure, which leads to a super fine, dangerously sharp edge. And so I did that Spidey Chef, I think for Steven, and it came out amazing. Well, N690 is a nitrogen steel as well as that. But the thing is, different nitrogen steels. I've sharpened other nitrogen steels. I didn't like them. LCN 200N and Z-Finite, holy crap, was that awesome. I heard it from the video I was watching about H1 steel, where they used hydrogen instead of carbon. Was it might not have been from them, but then why didn't they call it N1 steel? To tell you the truth, I don't really care. I don't look at data sheets. You know what data I use? This. What's that sound like? Sounds like a coarse steel. What's this feel like? It feels like a coarse steel. What's that edge feels like? Feels gritty. Must be a coarse steel. I really, to tell you the truth, I don't. Elliot gets into the weeds about steels. I know what it feels like on a stone. I know what it feels like, and I don't want to sound like an asshole, but it's. It goes along with the it goes along with people telling me that S. Yeah, I saw your thing. I'm gonna shoot you a text later, Brad. I was at my kids. I was picking my kids up and stuff. So it goes along with like people telling me that look it up. S90V should be much more wear resistant on your stones and be harder to cut than S30V. And it should, they were saying it should be S30, then 20CV, and then S90. But I got news for you. 20CV is harder to reprofile than S90V. And I can tell you that from experience. I have sharpened a ton of them in S90V. And I've sharpened even more of them in 20CV because I sharpen all of Elliot's knives now, but I sharpened a good chunk of the last run, and I sharpened all in Maker's Choice, and those are in 20CV. And I would much rather reprofile a knife in S90V than 20CV. Yes, I'm coming in. Guys, I have been called away for dinner. Please, you're going to get me a copyright infringement. Go. Get that out of here. Copyright infringements are bad. Get out of here. Please. Go. When I tell you to go. I'm already upset with you from earlier. Close it. So, anyway, guys, I got to go eat. I will talk to you all later. Have a good evening.